Okay, translation. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Lord of all kinds of threes and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the external maintainers or the eternal maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. Please repeat. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Lord of all kinds of threes.
Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Lord of all kinds of threes
and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the external maintainers of the creation.
He is worshipped by the eternal maintainers of the creation,
who offer him the paraphernalia of worship. By touching their millions of helmets. Please, Lord, keep that. Okay, so purport by Srila Prabhupada. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is so mild and merciful, as described in the above verses, and yet he is the Lord of all kinds of threes. He is the Supreme Lord of the three worlds, the three qualities of material nature, and the three Purushas, Karna Dakshai, Garbho Dakshai, and Chiro Dakshai, Vishnu. There are innumerable universes, and in each and every universe, there are different manifestations of Brahma, Vishnu, and Rudra. Besides that, there is the Seshamurti, who bears all the universes on his hoods, and Lord Krishna is the Lord of all of them. As the incarnation of Manu, he is the original source of all Manus in innumerable universes. Each universe has manifestations of 504,000 Manus. He is the Lord of the three principal potencies, namely Chit Shakti, Maya Shakti, and Tatashta Shakti. And he is the complete master of 6 kinds of fortune: wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation. There is none who can excel him in any matter of enjoyment, and certainly there is no one more greater than him. No one is equal to or greater than him. It is the duty of everyone, whoever and wherever one may be, to surrender completely unto him. It is not wonderful, therefore, that all the transcendental controllers surrender to him and make all offerings of worship. Jai Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshusonmilitam Yena Tasmai Śrī Gurave Namaha. Śrī Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam. Jai Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhara Śrīvasari Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakopa Tubhyascha Kripasindhu Bhevcha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So the verse again. Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa is the Lord of all kinds of threes and is independently supreme by achievement of all kinds of fortune. He is worshipped by the external maintainers of the creation, who offer him the paraphernalia of worship by touching their millions of helmets to his feet. So this is an amazing verse and purport. Srila Prabhupada mentions in the purport how Krishna is so mild and merciful, as described in the above verses. And we see Krishna, look at him, he's so mild looking, so merciful to all living entities, but yet it's described that he's the master of all kinds of threes. And so we see Krishna, but yet it's bewildering to see such a cute little boy, beautiful little boy, attractive little boy, but yet he's the master basically what they're saying is the master of everything. But, breaking it down into different numbers like threes. I remember there was a devotee who had this book, and it had all kinds of numbers, like Krishna is like there's mentioned here all the threes and different numbers like fours and sixes and things, and there's a whole book just about this numbers. I actually went to try to find it, but nobody remembered it in the gift shop there, but that would have been interesting to find all the different aspects of Krishna related to numbers or numerology like that, which is interesting. But what's also interesting is that in the Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, there's a chapter, and it's actually entitled The Opulences of Krishna. And this is where Lord Chaitanya is actually instructing Sanatana Goswami. And this verse that we read today is actually quoted in that chapter. And it's interesting. Prabhupada translates it in a different way. I'll read the translation. It says, Krishna is the master of all demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and the expansion of Vishnu within this universe. Therefore, no one is equal to or greater than him. And he is full in 6 opulences. All the demigods engaged in the administration of each universe offer their respectful obeisances unto him. Indeed, the helmets on their heads are beautiful because they are decorated with the imprints of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So we see again, it's showing us that all these great powerful controllers, mentioned and summarized in this word, all the threes, like the demigods, including Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and Lord Vishnu, they're actually all, subordinate to Krishna. And this is amazing to actually try to understand that. And if you read the Brahma Samhita, it actually describes that in detail. So many descriptions in the Brahma Samhita, and there's no perfect graphic as this one here to describe. It shows the 3 worlds. It shows here the Krishna's planet, Goloka Vrindavan. And behind that is Mathura Dham, then there's Dwarka Dham, Ayodhya Dham. This is all, as I mentioned, the Samvit, the chit potency of Krishna, as also mentioned in this particular verse. So we see, and also there's mentioned there the Madhurya Dham. So this is a creation of Krishna. He's the master of this. This is the spiritual world. And then as it goes on, there's the Vaikuntha Lokas, and all the Narayan expansions are there, we can see. There's Vasudeva, the first, there's a quadruple expansion, and there's a second quadruple expansion. That's the Aishvarya Dham. And we see all the different incarnations of Krishna come there. Kurma. There's Macha. And then we see there's the Brahmajyoti. And then we have Krishna expand himself now again into as I mentioned, the 3 Vishnus. There's the Karna Dakshaya Vishnu, and there's the Vraja River, and he's Mahavishnu, where unlimited universes, they emanate from the pores of his skin and his breath. And you can imagine just one breath, external breath, is the whole manifestation of the entire universe, entire material creation. And we can see the life of some of these great controllers like Lord Brahma lives for trillions of years. And, it's just amazing. We can't even comprehend that. But yet it's only one breath of Mahavishnu, Karadakshaya Vishnu. And that is just an expansion of Krishna. So we see here again, it's now, as he comes and expands again into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, as mentioned in the verse. And that's in the Garbhodak ocean, where from his navel, Lord Brahma comes and he creates this particular universe, and he's the controller. He's described there, Jagat, Jada Jagat. He's like the original being, and is creating, by the mercy of Krishna, by the intelligence of Krishna, given him how to create all these different planetary systems. We see there's Burloka, there's the lower planets, there's the upper planets, and all these realms. We see Krishna is giving the potency to his empowered entities to create these things. And it also mentions how even Anantasesha there on the bottom, Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa, all the universes rest on his unlimited hoods. We can't even imagine that. Also, and that's Krishna is the master of Anantasesha also. So this gives you an idea just what opulence Krishna has. Who can compare? I mean, I was watching a video, it's a YouTube video, and it showed how the universe, and then they expanded, like there's a planet, and then you go up to the higher planets. It was kind of a, how do they say that word? It's like a projection, animation kind of thing. And it just kept going, you just kept expanding and expanding out and out and out, and just showing like, the measurement of the Earth compared to the universe, and the universe compared to the galaxies, and all these different things it's described. And they just keep going huge, keep going out and out and out. And you just couldn't even imagine. But yet, that was like their conception of like one universe. But yet there's millions of universes. They're like sesame seeds in a bag. And each one of those is a universe. And there's unlimited of those emanating from the pores of Mahavishnu. It's just incomprehensible. So we just finished a chapter in the Bhagavatam about Lord Vamanadev, how he expanded himself, and how Bala Maharaj can see everything in this. He could see all the planetary systems, all the different demigods, all the different elements. He could even see the different modes, the 3 modes of material nature he could even see within the body of Krishna. So just see, Krishna, some people think, the impersonalists think that Krishna comes and he takes a material form in the mode of goodness. And he has to get a material body. But that's, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that he's above the 3 modes of material nature. He's the controller of these modes of material nature. And as this painting is describing here, we see Krishna. He is the controller of these different modes of material nature that are controlling us, like webs. We're caught in this web of the material world, and we're being forced to move here and there. We're dragged around by this bag, this body. It's like a machine. And with these senses that we've acquired due to our particular desires, we get a particular eye, nose, ear, or even a type of form, like could be an animal form, a plant form, an insect form. But yet all these forms are like seeds that come from Krishna. There are certain demigods that are empowered by Krishna from their womb. They actually produce all the different species of life, like the aquatics, like the nagas, and even the insects come from these demigods' wombs. And all those seeds are coming from where? From Krishna. So we're in these particular bodies being controlled by material nature, and we actually begin to understand our position. We begin to see, we have to understand what position we're in. We have to step back and get a broader perspective to, see the forest, instead of just focusing on the tree so much. So we see here, this is the 3 primary demigods that are mentioned. One of the 3s, there's Lord Brahma, there's Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. And they're in charge of the 3 qualitative modes of nature: passion, goodness, and ignorance. And they have different effects on us. And everything we can analyze is of these 3 modes. There's a certain percentage. Like in the higher planetary systems, their bodies are more in the mode of goodness. In the middle planetary systems, passion, and lower planets, more ignorance. So it just varies depending on our desires and our wishes Krishna fulfills. He makes this entire huge arrangement for us to try to enjoy. Supposedly, he's so kind, he's very merciful. But yet at the same time, it's said in such a way that it's temporary. It causes misery. And, we think there's something more, and there is. And then that's the purpose of the human form of life, is to try to understand that there is something good, more than just this material situation. So this is the whole purpose of the Vedic literatures, is to give us that idea that there's something more here, that here everything's temporary, even though we may not realize it at first because we're so absorbed. We actually believe that this is reality where we're living. I mean, it's Krishna's energy, but yet it's temporary. But yet as spirit souls, we have a tendency to want to enjoy permanently, endlessly. But that's not happening here, so that's why we're dissatisfied. So Krishna comes to display himself, and he comes in different forms, different incarnations. We can see Krishna comes, as we described, we show the different Vishnus there, and all the emanations from Brahma, like the 4 Kumaras, and the different manifestations of Krishna that come due to his different potencies. These are all the different incarnations. And we see the most recent here is Lord Chaitanya, in the middle and the bottom. He comes also, it's non-different than Krishna. All these actually have personally appeared in the form of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We'll talk about that a little more later. But it's very bewildering. I mean, how can God come? I mean, if he comes here, he must be like us. That's how the prisoners think when the commanders come into the prison. They think, oh, he's like us. Or they think that they're like them. So it's bewildering. So we see this Krishna, this baby Krishna. He's so cute and ornery. And look at him, he's just playing around. And he eats butter with his left hand. And he's doing all kinds of things. But yeah, it's bewildering for people. Even bewildering for the demigods to see that this is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How could this be? So Lord Brahma actually came to check out, see Krishna. Oh, look at him, he's having lunch with his friends, and they're still in their food, and they don't even wash their hands, they're doing so many things, and this can't be God. So he tested him, and he stole all the boys and the calves for a minute of his time, which was a year on the earthly planet. So when Lord Brahma came back, he saw that all the cows and all the boys are there, and you could see them on the top right. And all their parents are very attractive. Even the cows, the mother cows, were very attracted to their calves, because it was actually Krishna manifested himself exactly as everything about those boys and calves. All their idiosyncrasies, all their little likes and dislikes. He manifested everything so perfectly. But yet, they were so attractive that their parents just wondered why. So much attracted to them. And it was because, as Krishna's, and Balaram are discussing that, you've actually manifested this. And then Lord Brahma was so bewildered, he saw that, as you can see the bottom right, he was so bewildered by this thing, and he saw, just like he had left them, Krishna's just there, enjoying lunch with his coward boyfriends. And he just couldn't understand. It's like, blinking his eyes, wondering what's going on. But then at that time, Krishna manifested all from the coward boys and the calves, all his Vishnu forms, which was amazing to Lord Brahma. And then he came and he surrendered to Krishna, completely surrendered to him, and realized that actually you are the Supreme. I don't know about anybody else, but I do not know who you are. I cannot even understand who you are. And Lord Brahma is the most intelligent being in this creation. I mean, his body is made of intelligence, practically. So this is Lord Brahma coming to this realization. How Krishna is so wonderful, is so opulent, is so amazing, we cannot understand. There's another pastime when Lord Brahma went to go see Krishna, and Krishna told him, he sent his servant and said, Krishna wants to know which Lord Brahma you are. He goes, what are you talking about? I'm the Lord Brahma. Tell him I'm the four-headed Brahma of the universe. I'm, the father of the 4 Kumaras. And, so they came back, and so finally got to see Krishna. And then, yes, he said, Krishna, I'd like to come and tell you, what I wanted to come to see you about. But first, I have a doubt. You said, which Lord Brahma? You can see Lord Brahma right here, kind of in the middle on the step, just a little tiny little figure there at the foot of Krishna on one of the steps, four-headed Brahma right there. So he's right there. And he says, you said that, which Brahma am I? Is there, I thought I'm the, I'm the Lord Brahma of the universe. Is there any other Lord Brahmas of the universe? So Lord Krishna just closed his eyes and meditated, and he called for all the Brahmas from all the different universes to come there at once. And they all appeared there. And Lord Brahma was amazed. He saw that, some of the Lord Brahmas had, 10 heads, hundreds of heads. Some even had, I think, 1 million heads, depending on the size of their universe, because they needed more power to rule. So some of them had so many different heads. And he was like, again, bewildered by Krishna. He's like, just Krishna, I do not know you. Nobody. As far as I'm concerned, I cannot understand you. You are supremely opulent. You are the supreme mystic. And I see your power. So here Krishna is humbling him again. He doesn't like to see his devotees become proud, so he humbles them. And we see in another pastime of Krishna, this is when he lifts Govardhan Hill, when talkative Krishna talks his father into performing the Govardhan Puja instead of the Indra Puja. So Indra becomes very angry and is very puffed up and proud because this is a tradition. They have to honor me. Besides, I am the king of heaven. Who is greater than me? So he teaches these coward boy, this talkative boy, and all these villagers. He sends the Samvarta clouds at once to completely destroy Vrindavan, and which is like overkill. It's like the clouds that come at the end of the dissolution of the universe. So he's sending those because it's so angry at this talkative boy and these puffed up villagers worshiping Govardhan Hill instead of me. So this is what happens. So Krishna just, with his left hand, pinky finger, lifts up this 7-mile mountain above his head very effortlessly, like picking up a mushroom. And it's like an umbrella, and it protects them from the rain. And it's amazing, everything. It's like during this time, like for 7 days, he was holding this mountain up. Nobody was hungry or thirsty or tired. And, everything was being maintained. Even the mountain on the outside wasn't being destroyed. Everything was very beautiful. So this is Krishna. Who can compare? He's the master. Therefore, what do we have to do? As Prabhu said, we have to surrender. And that's what Indra does. He comes to surrender, and he offers his obeisances to Krishna. He comes with a Sarabi cow. And there's a very amazing, there's a book, I don't know if you've heard of, and it's from the Ananda Vrindavan Champu. I know some of you heard this book. There's one pastime in there all about Govardhan. It's like an extended version of Srimad Bhagavatam. It goes into more detail. And it's amazing, right after this pastime, when Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill, he put down the hill, and then he went for a walk by himself, around the hill. He might have went up to the top. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's when Lord Indra appeared to him, and he offered his obeisances. But it wasn't only Lord Indra who came to do this Abhishek with the Sarabi cow, but all the demigods from all over the universe came. It just goes into detail. So many different personalities that came. Lord Brahma was there. They came to glorify Krishna with that bathing ceremony, the 4 Kumaras. It mentions Uma, Mahadev, Tambaru, Kartikeya, Narada, Savita, many exalted rishis, all kinds of sages, the wives of demigods, the celestial apsaras like Urvasi. She came and performed a dance, and she enhanced the festival with her splendid form and qualities. And then Govardhan, appeared personally there, and he offered Krishna an elegant throne. It had very nice stones and jewels, very smooth. And then Varuna came. He offered him a very fine, white umbrella for Krishna's head, and it had like a fringe, hanging pearls, that they appeared like falling raindrops, which is amazing. Varuna did that. He's in charge of water. So you can see all the different demigods from all the different elements are coming, and they're offering Krishna obeisances. They're worshiping him. Vayu came, and he came, trembling in ecstatic devotion, and he's in charge of air, and he was fanning Krishna with a chamar whisk. And then the moon appeared, and they were giving him different gifts. He gave him a mirror made of jewels, and then the Lord's conch shell came, and it sanctified the whole atmosphere with loud sounds. And his weapons, the Sudarshan chakra came, expanded as a lamp to illuminate all the directions. And Krishna's lotus flower came, white umbrella, the Krishna's club came. All these things stood there. They just were like very wonderful. It was like his club actually stood there like a pillar during the bathing ceremony. And then all the personified forms of the oceans, the rivers, the ponds, and the lakes, they came there. They had like pots of water to bathe Krishna in. And then Bhumi came, who's the personification of earth. She came with this very fine quality of earth in a box. It was covered with jewels. That's amazing. And then she put this box on a jeweled plate, and then she approached Krishna also. And then all the herbs and medicinal plants, they personified themselves, and they came to Krishna's service. Even all the trees, the sacred trees like the banyan tree and the peepal tree. Actually, we have a peepal tree here in the, I don't know if any of you knew that, but this one Mataji brought it from India. She snuck it when it's a little tiny. And it's growing over here in front of the MVT building, which is here on Venice Boulevard. So that's here. It's an amazing tree. It's really cool leaves. So they offered these special leaves with all these different tastes and golden pots studded with gems and these very valuable, lapis lazuli, I think they call it. And it's just, all the gods from all the 10 directions. They brought water, they brought pots, coconuts, the mountains, they brought exotic gems and jewels. And even the yogis, the 8 yogic cities, they were, they also appeared. The Kamadhenu cow came, and he's like a desire, and desire tree, and they assumed forms to worship Krishna and to provide everything that was needed for the abhishek and for this puja. So you could go on and on and on. It just like goes on and on. I couldn't believe it. And so many different things. Garuda appeared, and he came, and he made flew over with wings. He made a protective canopy over the Lord. All the kings of snakes came. I could just go on and on. It just describes this and how the different ladies came, and all these very chaste ladies, after they bathed him, they dried Krishna with towels. And it's just so beautiful, and how it's described like that. And then Krishna's like, yeah, okay, guys, come on. It's like, you're actually taking me away from my intimate relationship with my gopas and my gopis, but okay. So he left them all because they were so ecstatic they wanted to worship Krishna. So Krishna was there, just taking all that worship, which is very amazing. But that there's a whole chapter, and it just goes on and on and on, describing this wonderful pastime. And then Krishna just left there, and he just went, and it was like a moment passed by, and he just went back to his friends. Which is a very amazing pastime, and just shows you how Prabhupada said all their helmets were clashing, and they bowed down to Krishna. So this is, look at all the helmets. There's so many personalities, controllers, and things we can't even imagine that are in this universe. They're all coming to Krishna and bowing down to him and offering him puja and bathing him, offering him wonderful prayers. There's another version here by Pushkar of Indra, offering prayers. So you see Krishna, it's described how he's the master of all these different worlds. Here's Krishna in Vaikuntha. And it's described that he has 6 opulences. And all these 6 opulences are shared. Actually, all the residents of Vaikuntha, they also have 6 opulences. Prabhupada describes that they have them in full also. So Krishna has so much opulence in his devotees. Also, they're opulent. So if you come in association with Krishna, then you become opulent. Here's Krishna the Master in Goloka, Vrindavan, where the gopis are worshipping Krishna. Krishna's, look at, how can you imagine the opulence of Krishna? There is no, gratification or enjoyment that Krishna does not have. And yet we're just running around here trying to get some squeeze of some kind of pleasure in the mature world, which there is nothing actually. It's like, squeezing a rice patty or a sugarcane juice that's already been squeezed out so many different times. There's nothing there. Krishna is so amazing. Nobody can understand Krishna. The Ananta sage is still trying to glorify Krishna with all his hoods. What to speak of opening up, holding all the universes and planets on his heads. And Prabhupada even describes, even someday someone may be able to count, all the molecules and snowflakes, or understand all the atoms in the universe. They might be able to count those, but still they can't count the qualities of Krishna. It's so incomprehensible. Even Krishna himself is so attracted to himself, he can't even understand himself practically. So he's seeing himself, and he's so attracted. So Krishna, maybe he doesn't understand himself, then he'll understand himself, and then again he'll expand, and then he doesn't understand himself. So he even attracts himself. It's so amazing and beautiful. So this is Krishna being enamored with the reflection of himself. So all this power of Krishna, all his manifestations, all these things, as we mentioned, Krishna shares his opulences with his devotees. And we see Srila Prabhupada came, and all these powerful personalities, all Krishna's opulences came along with Srila Prabhupada and the Jaladutta. They came to bring us a message, like Krishna appearing all the time to somehow or another attract the souls that have left him, that have turned away from him, that have became a little indifferent to Krishna, which is tantamount to just being envious. And then we've come to this mature world to try to enjoy separately. But Krishna is so kind-hearted and merciful, as mentioned in the purport and in the previous verses of this chapter, that Krishna will come, and he empowers his devotees to come. And this is what Srila Prabhupada did. He came with a great compassion, and he can see, our plight. So he's coming with this great compassion and with these great instructions of Krishna, describing the pastimes of Krishna and pointing to us the way that we need to go. Up, get out of here, go back to the spiritual world. Because as Prabhupada's instructions, he comes and teaches us. He says, oh, you think you're having a great time here in the material world? What is this place? As Prabhupada mentioned, it's just like a place where we come to pass urine and stool. It's a place where we come and just have garbage. It looks so wonderful at first. We think it's so picturesque, the beach. But you ever go to the beach nowadays? It's so contaminated. You just go walk on the beach and your feet will be black with tar from the oil spills. There'll be all kinds of junk and food, just like this. This is a mature world. It's a dumping place for people's crap everywhere. But yet, we're thinking, oh, I want to be comfortable. And, many people are thinking the most dear thing to us is our body. So everyone's trying to make it comfortable, have a nice situation, have some nice comfortable thing to sit on, some soft thing to touch, some nice sounds to hear, something to drink and watch, and so many different things. We're thinking we're comfortable here. But Krishna is so kind. He's come as a super soul amongst all living entities, and he's just looking for that one moment to teach us that here there's no enjoyment. You're like a fish out of water. You're trying to enjoy out of the ocean of nectar of Krishna consciousness. Doesn't matter what kind of food you eat, how much money and opulence you think you're making here. You could be offered so many different things. Wonderful things to look at, things to make you happy, high, intoxicated. But yet, they're not going to make you happy. They will not make you happy. You're a fish out of water, and you completely end up miserable, and your life will be ruined. And we see that in so many cases of people becoming addicted to all these different things in the mature world. It's very, it's just ruinous to their whole life and their consciousness. But in the human form of life, it's the only form where we can actually get out of this cycle. Krishna created all living entities, all these different species we talked about, but he wasn't satisfied until he made the human form. And the human form is the only form where he can actually understand who he is and realize his position. So therefore, it's very important for us to become like soldiers, become like warriors, knights, or Jedis in this mature world, and not take this movement as something very cheap, but actually take it very strictly. There was this nice quote, actually what's going on around the world, there's an interesting phenomenon. There's these kirtan melas going on, and I was watching the one in Mauritius. It was amazing, just so many. I mean, for 2.5 days, they were just chanting from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, and sometimes even going after, just straight chanting Hare Krishna. And everybody's just dancing and chanting, and they're in ecstasy. It was amazing. So at the end, Satchidananda Swami was talking about how, when he was there, they had some of the news media interview him. And one of the questions asked by one of the newscasters said, well, what is it you are doing this Kirtan Mela? So what will you do afterwards? And he thought that was really a great question. And yeah, we have to all think about that. We have this Krishna consciousness movement. We come and we chant. Prabhupada has given us this process, Krishna consciousness. So what do we do after we chant? And he quoted this letter. He read this letter from Srila Prabhupada to Shuddhadev in October 30th in 1976. And Prabhupada says here, if you want to stay in Krishna consciousness, you have to develop firm faith in Guru and Shastra. Therefore, you must study my books very scrutinizingly, follow the 4 regulated principles very strictly, and chant 16 rounds daily, avoiding the 10 offenses. Don't take this movement as something cheap. So we have to be very, we have to chant our rounds, we have to glorify Krishna, associate with devotees without offense, and therefore we make rapid advancement in Krishna consciousness. This is how we make advancement, is by chanting very sincerely, crying out to Krishna, and then going out and doing something practical for Krishna. As Prabhupada says, study, follow the principles, chant, avoid offenses, and then preach. And this is what Lord Chaitanya came. He came to give us this process of Krishna consciousness. He's coming to teach us this yajna for the age, which is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So powerful. Krishna himself, with all these manifestations we've seen, all these opulence of the Krishna that we've seen, they've all manifested in the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he's here giving us that potency that's coming through the holy name. So I don't know about in Hawaii, but today is actually Vrindavan Das Thakur's, his appearance day? Disappearance day, something like that. But anyway, there's a nice song I'd like to end with from Vrindavan Das Thakur. It's called Shri Nam Sankirtan. So I won't sing it, but I'll just read the translation for you. And let's see where it is. Here it is. Okay, upon collecting and arranging all kinds of articles and inviting everyone to mercifully come and attend the program, you are all Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, and therefore I humbly pray to you to please complete this ceremony by your merciful glance. Thus humbly praying and receiving all the great Mahanta stalwart devotees of the Lord to join the Adivas inaugural ceremony of the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Only by immense good fortune one gets the association of such an assembly of Vaishnava, and therefore tomorrow we'll have a great festival. There's another verse here. Where you all will relish the sweet pastimes of Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and all your desires will be fulfilled. In this way, Vrindavan Das humbly glorifies the moon-like. Let's see what happened here. I can't see it. Let's see if I can go down. The moon-like Lord Śrī Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his devotees. So just like we were talking about the great ceremony they're doing for Krishna on Govardhan Hill. So we also have this opportunity now. There's so much, we have good fortune to get the Association of Assembly of Vaishnavas and have these great festivals that are going on, these Kirtan Melas. They're amazing. They're happening all over the world. And there's devotees, that's all they do. Some of them just travel and they do this. Like I know Madhava and his wife, that's all they do. They travel. They're like home maybe 1 or 2 months out of the year, and the rest of the time they're traveling, doing kirtan all over the world. We even had them here to open up the new year. Doing Krishna for New Year's Eve to New Year's. We had some, like 12-hour kirtans, kirtan melas. And it's amazing. We could take advantage of this, and with the Vaishnava devotees. And this is what Vrindavan Thakur is begging to please come, take advantage, associate, come with the association of devotees, and we can have this inaugural ceremony of congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. So today we can pray to Vrindavan Das Thakur as he's humbly glorifying Lord Chaitanya. We should also come and glorify Lord Chaitanya and his devotees by coming and associating with them and chanting the holy name, so that we can get out of this place and go back to where we have seen this glimpse that Prabhupada has given us, back to the spiritual world. Jai, all glories to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. So any comments, questions, realizations?
Today is the disappearance day of Vrindavan Das Thakur.
Okay, disappearance. It's there in Hawaii also?
Yes, and thank you. You reminded me, I should say a day early, that tomorrow is Ekadashi.
Oh yes. Jai. Some more opportunity to take this seriously.
Gauda, you were saying we have to become warriors and Jedi. What is a Jedi?
A Jedi. Sorry. You never saw Star Wars?
No.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess we used to take the kids to go see the Star Wars. They're called Jedis. They're like soldiers, modern soldiers.
Oh.
Yeah. They're the soldiers of the future. In the
Yeah, definitely become soldiers in Lord Chaitanya's army and serving under Prabhupada, the great general. We definitely have a mission.
Yep. So we have to take it seriously. And
Prabhupada was so focused on his mission, his whole life after, ultimately when he embraced the instruction that Bhaktisiddhanta gave him, his whole purpose was the mission of spreading the mercy of Lord Chaitanya and taking it beyond the boundaries of India and taking it all over the world, to every town and village, to every door.
Yeah.
And we're so fortunate that we have the opportunity, as you're saying, to be to be a general, or serving under the great general.
Yes.
To be in the infantry, as we should say.
Right. That's true. Yeah, we're like the monkeys, warriors of Lord Ram.
And just like Arjuna, when the Battle of Kurukshetra was fighting so that Krishna could reestablish religious principles, and so our duty is the same, that we're also helping to establish the religious principles, fighting against all the onslaughts of Maya, fighting individually and for our own selves, and fighting to spread this to others.
Yes. It's true. Yeah, there's they made one comment somebody said in class the other day about how, how sometimes Prabhupada says, what pleases you the most? And, Prabhupada said many things, love Krishna, distribute my books, different things. This time he said, what pleases me the most is, or what pleases Krishna the most is that to see you struggle for Krishna. To see you struggle. Yeah, I think it was devotee gave class here. Yeah, to see that struggle, that's what we can all do. Oh yeah, we just had that's what was said at the, they celebrated Gaur Purnima in Laguna Beach this weekend. So we went there and that's what Guru Swami said. he made that comment that that's what pleased Prabhupada, pleased Krishna the most, is to see us struggle, and that just, as he said, sometimes you just have to show up. Just to show up is a struggle sometimes. To chant, to read, to go see the deities, attend the programs. We have to struggle like a soldier, like a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's so many nice things going on. And then if you ever go to Mayapur TV, I went from, you could go to see Mayapur, like you could see the devotees, the great generals of Krishna, how they're being glorified. There was a Vyas Puja for Jayapataka Maharaj Guru Maharaj. He was very amazingly glorified there by his godbrothers, and we could just see how so many people came, and they're all under his wing, and he encouraged them to go out and fight, to spread this movement. Prabhupada wanted him to spread it, all over the world. He wanted him to, make 50,000 devotees, he told him. And like right now, I think he has like 30,000 disciples, and he's still traveling the world like a warrior, like a soldier, even though he's paralyzed half of his body practically, and still fighting for Krishna. So you can see Krishna empowers his devotees, and that potency is coming through Krishna through them. We saw Prabhupada coming on the ship. He was protected by all the incarnations of Krishna who were there to protect him and guide him. So that's available for all of us. Krishna's there for us. He already is there for us. He's coming in his holy name, these books, everything is coming. All these incarnations are in the Bhagavatam, and they're all manifested within the holy names. We don't know the power of the holy names, the opulences, the greatness of just chanting Hare Krishna, what it can do. As they're also talking about, they mention how it doesn't matter where you come from. Like there was a lecture Prabhupada gave on Sunday, and he was saying how, we need to have Brahminical culture established again. But today, nobody's born Brahminical. It's very rare that someone's born Brahminical. We're all born as Sudras and less, practically. But he said it's no disqualification that anybody in any condition of life can actually change and become Brahminical. This is the potency that this process of Krishna consciousness can do. Jai, so any more comments, questions? Thank you, Narhari.
In the Gita, Krishna says regarding what pleases him the most, Krishna says, Nachatasman manusheshu kaschya me priyakritamam, that there's no one more dear than one who preaches, nor will there ever be. So all of us should be preachers in Prabhupada's army. And if for some reason we're not a particularly great preacher ourselves for whatever reason, then we serve those who are preaching, and the result is the same.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's what Prabhupada said. Someone was saying I was preaching Prabhupada. I went out to preach, and Prabhupada said, he says, you're helping me preach. I am preaching. So
Bhaktisiddhanta one time said, if you see someone and don't tell them about Krishna, that you're sending them to the slaughterhouse.
Oh, yeah, that's real violence, yeah. That is real violence.
That's heavy.
Yeah, look at these people. They're just, I think they're enjoying, they're just wasting their life away in this mature world. It's like they're killing themselves.
It's healthy that we see that. That's a great point. If we look and see others totally arm in arm, boyfriend, girlfriend walking along thinking they're so happy, wasting every moment, wasting their day, wasting their night, wasting their year, wasting their whole life. That should inspire us to not want to waste a moment.
Yeah.
Because with all the with anything we can obtain, there's no way to purchase back even a second. Once it's gone, it's over. Every second is so precious. And how many seconds do we waste? How many minutes in the day do we waste? How many hours in the day do we waste?
Yeah.
We could probably look at it the opposite way. What percent of our day do we actually wisely invest in spiritual life?
Yeah. True.
It really should be 24 hours a day, and our sleeping is just to sleep and rest the body so that it can, if we're resting our body for Krishna, that's service.
Yeah. We have to be completely absorbed in Krishna to go back to him.
It's nice to look back at the end of the day and think, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? What was well invested and what was wasted?
Yeah, it's a good meditation, actually.
I was waiting for something, heating up something in the microwave. It was like a minute and 30 seconds. And while it was doing its thing, I was kind of standing there waiting, thinking, I don't want to waste this minute and 30 seconds. So, I mean, not that I often don't waste a minute and 30 seconds, but at that particular time, I was saying, all right, I got a minute and 30 seconds here. I'm not going to waste it. And I started chanting verses until what I was heating up finally heated up.
That's a symptom of a devotee. Prabhu said he doesn't like to waste time. That's good. Very cool.
Great class and a great presentation as always.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. I guess that's it. Everybody.
Oh. Thank you, Prabhu.
That's it for now.
Okay.
But we'll be expecting you back in 2 weeks.
All right.
Looking forward to that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So I'll go to Srimad Bhagavatam. I'll go to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai, I'll go to Srila Prabhupada.
Haribo.
Haribo. Hare Krishna.